Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. If you are joining us for the first time, can't say thank you enough. Gotta shout out all my fellow CCs. If you are a content creator and you are showing up to give love and support your fellow CCs, you are amazing. We will be pinning all CCs that come through to the top of the chat so you can go out and subscribe to their pages. There are 2 billion active daily users. There is enough room for all of us. Please go out and support the CCs. So let's get started. I always try to start out with something that kind of gets us lifted. Let's go. We're here to lift each other.
Clearly, fame isn't everything.
Down, what the fuck you gonna do? Damn, it feels good to be a gangster.
Here I go, 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 here I go.
But no, thank you to everyone who stops by and supports the fellow CCs. It is so important for us to be able to be in community with one another. So I am Miss Community. If you are new to this space, thank you again for taking time out of your day to join us. Like they say, you could have been anywhere. Could have been anywhere in the world, but you are here with me. And for that, I'd like to say thank you. As always, all the information that we share here down at the community is for growth and not gossip. Thank you to Team Lifted for people who are out here supporting the good work of all the community members. If you hear anything here on this program, it is according to the Fair Use Doctrine, and it is for educational and entertainment purposes only. So thank you. I made it. Hey, Granny. If anybody knows anything about the journey that when I started here a couple of months ago, I was literally here because my grandmother was transitioning. She was in hospice. I had a lot of time on my hands. During that process, she made transition on February 23rd. So this was literally a creative way for me to be able to share my thoughts and kind of unload a little bit. So, hey, look, Granny, I made it. First 900 more to go, but I celebrate every success and I encourage any and everyone to do the same. So, that out the way, let's get to our weekly news roundup. We have some usual suspects in the house that are frequent appearers on the media rounds, and that is most unfortunate. But we're going to go ahead on and get started so I can get you in and out in case you have other things to do. Some of you have beautiful weather going on out there. Some of you have plans and commitments. And so again, I am appreciative of your time when you come by to visit the community. So here we have Mr. Lamar Whitehead. Why is he always so frequently in the news? So here we go. Mr. Lamar Whitehead, a man who leads a Brooklyn, New York church, stole from his parishioners. So that's why we're covering this story on a Sunday morning, and sought to defraud and extort businessmen as well as committing loan fraud. So if you are unaware, this is Bishop Lamar Whitehead. He unfortunately has been convicted again for fraud, essentially. And the reason why we cover stories like this is not because we are here to shame the perpetrator, but we are here to uplift the victims. And in this particular case, the victims were people of faith. They were his parishioners. They were the people that he trusted or that trusted him for leadership. They trusted him for guidance. They trusted that he was somebody who would be faithful and honest and above reproach. And yet what they got was an absolute train wreck of a human. And I think that is just really unfortunate. So he unfortunately has been convicted in his trial, and he will possibly be facing the federal sentencing guidelines in, I think it is September. So we are um, not celebrating anybody's loss of freedom, but we are supporting the victims, the countless victims that this man over his years has hurt. And he has used people's faith and people's need for healing and hope and fellowship as a tool to harm and deceive. And I think that's going to come with some huge consequences when he gets to those federal sentencing guidelines. So we're wishing his family, his wife, his kids, his lovers, his supporters, we are wishing them well. This is a trying time. Nobody wants their freedom gone. But if you make choices that are intentionally, deceitfully, manipulatively harming people in the community, unfortunately, you find yourself where Mr. Whitehead has found himself. And unfortunately, also for Mr. Whitehead, this is not his first rodeo. And that's one of the things that really concerns me is the fact that he knew better. He full out knew better. And yet he continued to crime and hurt people. And that is just absolutely unacceptable. So we wish his family well. But since he has not corrected the error in his ways, it looks like he will possibly be going to federal prison this time. Next up, we have the mayor, the super mayor, Miss Tiffany Henyard, another person who is out here victimizing people that look like you and me. And that is always my problem. Shout out to Shay and the late night crew, to Hannibal, to all the auditors who have been on the ground supporting the people of Dalton. This is a tiny town, y'all. This town has got like less than 50,000 residents. And the shenanigans that this woman has brought to these poor people after they have already experienced, let me be clear, this town has already gone through East Hale. They had a mayor before her that was accused of being absolutely problematic. And so the people of Dalton looked to their community and say, can we choose one of our own that will come into this space and treat us fair and correct some of the things that were going on in the past? And this is what they got. And she said some of the most outrageous and outlandish things. Y'all black called my phone from the Diaz at her council meetings. But we're not even going to go with her decorum. We're going to take a look at her crime, or possibly the complicitness allegedly that she may have in crime. So a new lawsuit filed against Dalton Mayor and Chicago activist by a victim who was harmed on a trip, which leads me to this. A civil lawsuit filed against Mayor Henyard and trustee Andrew Holmes for alleged SA in Las Vegas. And that is why we cover stories like this. Not to shame someone who has a position of power, not to belittle or berate or to question the competency of their leadership because of the way they look. We do this to hold them accountable for the shit they have done to people who did not have power. That is why we cover stories like this. We hold them account because the harm that they are committing hurts people in our community, and that is unfortunate. So the feds are probably coming because they use city funds. They traveled across state lines from Illinois to Nevada. So the feds are probably coming for a number of people that were either complicit during or after the fact. And that is unfortunate because the victim deserved people in power who were willing to stand up and be held accountable. And what she possibly got, according to the lawsuit, is lies. She just simply got people who hurt her, deceived her, and possibly cost her job and employment. Next up, we have our good friends down there in Fulton County. Yes, there's a lot going down there in the Fulton County with the DA's office. At this point, the judge has decided he is tired of everybody in this case. He is tired of the defense. He is tired of the prosecutors. He is simply tired of everybody in this case. And given the number of, I think jury selection took almost a year. I think we're at now 4 or 5 months on this trial. The judge has every right to be tired of everybody in this case. But we are here for the fair application of the law and due process. And so we do not want people to lose their freedom lightly. We want the process to be serious. We want the process to be thoughtful. We want the process to be fair. But good grits and gravy. These people are going to never finish up this trial and the things that have gone on. So the motions, it has just been an out and out mess down there in Fulton County. So, of course, they are facing RICO charges. YSL is an entertainment group, record label, and they are currently being charged with a number of crimes. And because there were two or more people who agreed or possibly had knowledge of these felonies, they are now looking at RICO charges down there in Fulton County. So some people have already taken plea deals. It's been a hot mess express. There have been rap lyrics involved in the trial. It's just been a cacophony of chaos down there in Fulton County. And we've got witnesses wearing wiretaps. We've got witnesses cooperating. It is just a mess. So that continues to proceed apace down there in Fulton County. And hopefully there will be a resolution to that case at some point soon. Next up, we have Mr. King. Mr. King has not been a very good boss, allegedly, to his employees. And that is most unfortunate. Some of his employees have come forward to make very serious allegations against him. One of the reasons why we are covering Carlos King, who possibly could be labeled Mr. Messy, is because my main issue with Carlos King Productions is how it ends, not how it started. The people that get involved in these productions may have more money and they may have more fame, but their lives are immeasurably worse for having gone and been a part of a Carlos King production. There is nothing happening in a Carlos King production that benefits you as a person. It will benefit your pockets, and then you will find yourself quickly spiraling out of control. And it doesn't matter what franchise, it doesn't matter which one of the very talented group of people that he decides to align himself with. What you get at the end of a Carlos King production is chaos. And at this point, given the number of years that we have seen this chaos proceed, the question has to be, is this by default or is this by design? I thank all the people that come through and support us. Again, if you are new to the channel and you see people stop by, or if you're a part of the replay gang, please go out and support our other creators. It is important for us to be a part of the conversation, for us to uplift other creators, uplift other voices, even voices that you don't agree with. There are times when you have to sit and listen. There are times when you need to absorb. There are times when you need to learn. And so even when I am in spaces and I don't agree with everything that's being said, I am still willing to support them and to listen. So I just want to say thank you to all the CCs that always come through. Thank you to the CCs that allow me to come through their spaces and share my opinion, share my perspective with them and their audience. This has been an amazing journey, especially during this really, really difficult time. So we are going to get to a few more stories that happened around the nation. This one is kind of near and dear to my heart just because this man has been a piece of crap for 10 years. If you don't recognize this particular location, this is Butte. This is Butte. This is what was happening in Butte. This is Clive Bundy's ranch. 10 years later, this low life, no good theft continues. And maybe one day we'll make a whole entire video how some people get away with things and some people do not, how some people are allowed a whole lot of latitude when it comes to our federal system and the laws that they break, and some people are allowed very little, and they ended up with Homeland Security on their porch. And that's part of the reason why I brought out this story. 10 years he has knowingly told the federal government, you cannot arrest me, you cannot even come on my property, you cannot force me to pay the money that I owe for the things that I stole. But we got Homeland Security showing up in some other places. And again, we support all victims. But part of the reason why Homeland Security hasn't shown up there and they showed up some other places is a topic for another video. But Clive Bundy is still being a degenerate out there at the ranch, and it's disgusting. In Texas, recently, a semi trailer crashed into our DPS location. Again, just want to point out that it is never good to crash your vehicle into a building because you are angry. And if you were attempting to get a license from the DPS to be able to continue your employment as a truck driver, this was about the worst way to go about that. So, unfortunately for him, he will probably not only be getting his license renewed, but he will be spending a significant amount of time in a Texas correctional facility. So, unfortunately, we don't take anybody losing their freedom seriously. But again, we have a lot of people here that need access to care and treatment, and clearly there is very limited access. And just to anybody who's saying, oh, this man was stupid, he was crazy, just remember, fact, in the state of Texas, Harris County Jail provides more mental health care than all the state hospitals combined. That is the deplorable state of healthcare in Texas. So I'm going to say it again slowly. Our jail here in Houston, Harris County, provides more mental health care. That means they spend more dollars on the treatment of Texans with mental health issues than all of our 8, and yes, there are 8 state hospitals. I got a whole other rant on that, but that's for another video. So we wish them well, and thankfully nobody was injured during this particular incident. We do have a video coming up next week on this particular topic where it says the cost of silence. And this video that's going to be done on this particular topic has everything to do with how we treated the parents and the principal in this situation, and how we treated the parents and the principals in Michigan. Want to know the difference between what happened in Virginia and what happened in Michigan? In case you are unfamiliar with this particular story that is on the screen now, this is the principal who was there the day the first grade teacher was shot by a 6-year-old child. And if you have followed the trial of the parents of the school shooters out of Michigan, you would understand what I am talking about as to why we are going to cover this story specifically, that this woman is being charged. And some would say fairly, some would say unfairly, but she is being charged. And the likelihood of her being convicted is incredibly high. But my question is, I have watched too much coverage of what happened with the Crumblies in Michigan. There was virtually no coverage of what happened in Virginia. That says something about who was on trial. It says something about who was the victims. And it says something about the people that we have in media. There was very little consternation. There was very little concern. There was very little clasping at the pearls when they sentenced the mom of the Virginia school shooter, a 6-year-old child, to prison. I can't tell you how many YouTubers, from Bruce Rivers to the lawyer you know, to every single legal channel that you can think of, just Google the Crumblies and reaction and see how many people whine and complain about how crazy it is that we're charging the parents. Oh, this is so horrible. You could be next. The Crumblies' whole defense was, you could be next. No, I can't be next. I'm not that stupid. I have taken all healthcare concerns of my children seriously. If I own firearms in my home, I know exactly where they are, and I'm not dumb enough to buy a gun safe and leave the combination as 0, 0, 0, 0, just like it came from the factory. So I've already covered the Crumley decision and also covered the decision to sentence the mom in Virginia. So we're going to revisit that again now that all the sentences have been handed out in both cases. And we're going to look at how the mom in Virginia was actually doing what the mom in Michigan should have been doing. We're going to look at the negligence of the school because we air them out. That teacher got shot in the face. That's still a serious crime. So we're going to air them out. We are 100% going to air them out here. But what we're also going to do, good morning, good morning. I got to give a shout out to this brother right here. When I tell you, I love his energy. I love his contributions. Anytime I'm on a visiting a channel and this man is speaking, I am so, so grateful that he is sharing. Thank you. Please come through anytime. I am so grateful, grateful, grateful. Even though, when I see you on that other space, I'll be screaming at my screen like, oh my gosh, did he just say that? Child, you shopping at the Aldis and you won't Trader Joe's quality. That's not happening, but we're going to talk about that over there. But no, so I am definitely going to cover the discrepancy in the sentencing between these two parents because that mom in Virginia was getting her kid treatment. That mom had her kid in special education. That mom had kept her child home for months trying to address his mental health concerns in Virginia. And then what happened? 2 or maybe 3 days after she returned him to the care of someone else, that incident happened at the school. So we definitely are going to go through that. And then last but not least, I just want to say we're all mad here. And that's usually in a good way. As I like to say, you may recognize this song lyric. I'm not crazy, but I'm just a little unwell right now. I know you can't tell. So shout out to all of the people that are of that generation that might actually recognize those lyrics. I am really, really grateful for any time I get a chance to be in community with the creators. So each week I have a list of people that I am sending on down there to the devil to sit on attack. So this week it is to hell with grifters, liars, scammers, and repeat offenders like Lamar Whitehead, who choose to victimize people who trust him, people who are of faith, people who are hurting, who 100% need healing. They need a place where they can go and unload. And so if you are a repeat offender and you are down here terrorizing the people at the community, yeah, you can go sit on the tag with the people downstairs. As always, we show our work around here. Thank you, thank you, thank you to all of the content creators that are out there. Thank you, thank you, thank you to all of the people that came through this morning to support me. I am so grateful to you for sharing some time with us today. And I'm going to leave you with what I tell you before I go get out of here and go do a little playing of the piano for the good people down there at the church house. I hope blessings chase you down. I hope trouble never finds your door. I'll need you to level up. There is power and purpose in you, and the community needs that. When you get a chance, take the time to be kind and give grace. We have lots of people hurting. Thank you, family. I will be seeing you later in the week. I have a giveaway coming up. I'm so excited, guys. I made 100 today or last week. Seriously though, I appreciate everybody that comes through and shares some time with us. Go out and enjoy nature. Go out and enjoy God. And like I said, when you come across people who need a little grace, give it to them.